What you're about to see is one of the most up-to-date colour printing plants in the world. Tonight and every night we print in superb colour the nation's favourite newspapers. Welcome to Mirror Colour Print, Mirror Group Newspaper's exciting venture into newspaper colour printing. This is Oldham, a plant with a future. For 6 days a week, more than 1,200,000 copies of the Daily Mirror, voted Britain's best colour newspaper, flood out of here into the homes of our readers throughout the north of England. Britain's top racing paper, The Sporting Life, is also printed here, together with The European, Europe's first national newspaper. On Saturday night, we produce over 2 million colour copies of our titles, The Sunday Mirror and The People. Each of our titles has the capacity to insert preprints, magazines and freestanding inserts at press speeds of 70,000 copies an hour, all with the latest news and pictures from around the world. This operation went into full production in the spring of 1989. Prior to this, it was a redundant site. Now it houses in excess of 500 workers, with more jobs in the pipeline when its full potential is achieved. The high-speed, high-tech printing operation is run by Mirror Colour Print, a subsidiary of Mirror Group Newspapers. Their expertise is second to none, and when you see the product which rolls off the presses, you'll be able to judge for yourself. This is a team job. At Oldham, we gather news and advertising, then print and distribute our newspapers from this plant. Our distribution system covers thousands of miles each night, getting our copies to the readers on time. But let's take you back in time. Until the end of 1988, we were printing here at Maxwell House in the heart of Manchester. Quite an impressive building, isn't it? In fact, it was once the largest block of newspaper offices in the world. But the printing techniques were outdated and labour-intensive. Newspapers were first produced here in 1876 and delivered by horse-drawn wagons. This meant that vehicle access was poor and loading difficult. In 1955, the northern editions of the Daily Mirror were printed in the building for the first time. It housed 120 typesetting machines and 22 presses, the average speed of which was less than 20,000 copies an hour. Shortly after acquiring Mirror Group newspapers, Robert Maxwell could see that we were not equipped for future survival and had the vision to invest in new technology for publishing, printing and inserting. It was clear that Maxwell House would be totally inadequate to house the new equipment, and therefore it was necessary to find alternative premises in the northwest which would fulfill our current requirements and allow for future expansion. The old Ferranti factory at Chatterton Oldham, built in the early 50s to produce transformers and generators, was ideally situated, with motorway links just 5 minutes away. And in March 1988, we embarked on the enormous task of converting the building into a high-technology newspaper printing plant. Progress was rapid. Our first press was running early in December 1988, 3 months ahead of schedule and before the building was complete. Development continues non-stop, and the site, building and plant are an example of all that's best and most up-to-date in modern newspaper technology. We are now in full production and operating successfully with 8 presses and 11 inserting lines at our disposal. We are proud of our achievements and would like you to see them firsthand. In any event, what follows will give you an insight of this impressive operation. It all begins here, today and every day, in the Mirror newsroom. News, sport and pictures from Britain and the rest of the world flow in by telephone and computer from teams of reporters and correspondents, backed by national and international news agencies and even members of the public. Head of Bureau Leo White and his news desk team have the responsibility of assessing each story. Some will be developed for northern and others for national editions, and then sent by computer to London.
And the police are not letting us speak to gunman's wife.
Their material is sub-edited, put into the pages, and returned by facsimile for colour printing in Oldham. At Oldham, we have an efficient publishing operation, and close to the editorial department are those of circulation and advertising, where highly professional and experienced staff maximise the paper's already excellent and extensive appeal. Here we provide an effective service for both national and regional advertisers, and the complicated task of ensuring that our popular newspapers are delivered on time to millions of households each morning is coordinated. Pages which have been made up in London are transmitted electronically and received here by press fax. Each set of pages takes only 5 minutes to reach Oldham. A photographic negative is produced for these pages, which after proofing for colour and text to show what it will look like when printed, is passed from here to the press hall to ensure quality reproduction. Here comes the negative. And over it goes to the light table for quality checking, so that the image will reproduce on the printing plate and in the correct area. Then to the plate making machine, which automatically produces the required number of plates from each negative. After the plate has been produced, it's bent to fit around the printing cylinder on the press. Whilst the pages are being received from London and made into plates, the paper which will receive the print must be taken to the presses. The presses are loaded with newsprint by a sophisticated and efficient system of automatic guided vehicles, which carry reels from the computer-controlled store to the presses. With reels in position, the plates are fitted, and the presses are ready to roll. From his position at the panel, the operator controls by computer the quality and reproduction of the newspaper coming from these Man-Roland Kellerman 35s running at 70,000 copies an hour, the finest printing equipment in use today. Up into the conveyor and across to the inserting room, where material to be inserted into the paper has been wound onto discs earlier. Alternatively, or additionally, inserts can be hopper-fed into predetermined copies. Newspaper copies from the press are fed into the inserting drum by conveyor, And at the same time, inserts are fed into the drum from the hopper or the disc at the unwind station. Inside the drum, the papers are automatically opened and the insert placed into the copy, which is then picked up and transported to the dispatch area. The finished product must now be counted, packed, and made ready for the road. From the conveyor, the paper passes to machinery, which automatically counts and stacks into bundles. Which are then secured with strapping and travel along belts to waiting vehicles. The supplies go direct onto vehicles operated by a specialist newspaper distribution company. The whole process is time critical. Speed is essential. Our competitors are also loading supplies to similar destinations, and the race is on to achieve scheduled arrivals throughout the country. In addition to the carriage of newspapers, our distribution company will carry any publicity requirements we have, including such items as posters, news bags, and billboards. The print area covered from Oldham is basically the northern half of the country, incorporating the regions of Lancashire, Yorkshire, the North East, and the borders of Scotland. These embrace 3 separate edition areas: Borders and Tyne Tees, Yorkshire, and Granada. Midweek, there are 24 direct road runs from the printing plant, with 6 outlying wholesalers collecting from these destinations. Additionally, we charter a plane to the Isle of Man. The sporting life is carried on these services every night, and the European is also carried on a Thursday. On average, 1,200,000 copies are printed using 150 tons of paper each night. The furthest direct run is Newcastle, which is 129 miles. With a print start at 10 p.m. and a finish between 3:30 and 4 a.m., we arrive at wholesalers in time for their distribution to reach retail outlets as early as 4 a.m. The Sunday titles operation covers the same geographical area. However, 55 vehicles are required due to the sheer bulk of the operation and to accommodate the inserted materials. It's 4 a.m. Another good run. But that's not the end of it. Already, another exciting day has begun in the life of Robert Maxwell's Mirror Group newspapers. For at Mirror Colour Print Oldham, we produce the nation's most colourful and popular newspapers, tonight and every night.